Hello class, how are you all doing? I hope you are doing great and you are staying safe at home. How did you perform in the midterm test? I hope you were able to answer all the questions because they were very simple questions. Okay? Okay, so we are in a new week and we are going to learn something under visual arts, under planning, making and composing. We are going to learn composition in art. Every artwork is made up of principles and elements that come together to make the artwork pleasing and beautiful to the viewer. Okay, so you're going to learn about composition in art, as I said, and we're going to learn about what the elements and principles of design. And today, after the lesson, you're going to have a short assignment. Make sure you answer them and answer them correctly. Okay, let's quickly move to our first slide and start our lesson. Okay, so let's find out what composition is. Okay, so composition in art is the arrangement of visual elements in a work of art. Okay, the things that you can see in a work of art makes up the composition of the work of art. In designing, composition can also be known as page layout. So when you look at a design, everything that goes into the design to make the design attractive to you is what the composition of that design or the composition of art. Okay, so now let's look at what elements of design. The elements of art are commonly used as part of an artwork, which are used with the help of certain principles. Examples of these elements are, so these elements forms part of the artwork. Okay, you can see them physically in the artwork. Okay, so let's look at some of the examples of these elements. We have lines. So we have many types of lines. We have horizontal lines, verticals, slanted lines, broken lines, etc. Okay, then we have dots. We have large and small dots, which we all know. Then we have shapes. Okay, there are a lot of shapes in this world that can be found in most of our artworks. We have square, we have triangle, we have circle, oval, pentagon, etc. There are many shapes that you think of. They are all what elements of design. Then we have what texture. Texture is the surface quality of an object. Okay, how smooth or how rough the surface is determines the texture of that particular object. So the smoothness or roughness of an artwork also forms part of what the elements of design. Okay, let's quickly move to the next slide and continue with the other elements. Right class, so let's continue. So color is also part of the element of design. It is what the eye sees when light falls on an object. There are many types of colors. Okay, we have the primary colors, we have secondary colors, and we have what tertiary colors. So we are going to take these type of colors one after the other and explain them. Okay, so primary colors are colors that you can never mix any color to get. They are red, yellow and blue. When you mix any color together, you can never get these colors. Okay, so they are neutral colors. Okay, then we have secondary colors. Secondary colors are a mixture of primary colors. Okay, so when you mix the primary colors, you get the secondary colors, which are orange, green and violet. Okay, so we'll look at how to mix to get these things. Now let's look at how to mix the colors, the primary colors, to get the secondary colors. So you can experiment this at home. When you add red and yellow, you get what? Orange. When you add yellow and blue, you get what? Green. And when you add red and blue, you get what? Violet. So these are the secondary colors which are derived from what? The primary colors. Then we move to what? Tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are a mixture of secondary and primary colors, which will give you what? The tertiary colors. For instance, I'll just give you two examples. When you add orange and yellow, you get what? Light orange. And when you add blue and green, you get a color called what? Blue green, because there is more of blue in it. Okay, so these are just some of the examples of colors that we have that forms part of what? Elements of what? Design. So you see how important color is in the composition. Okay, so let's quickly move to the next slide and continue. Yes, class. So let's continue with the elements of design. Okay, so we have what? Form. Form is the physical nature of the work of art. For instance, if there is a girl there and somebody say, hey, I like your form, the person is simply saying, I like your stature, your structure. Okay, so the physical nature of the work of art, how you see that particular work of art, is the form, which is an element of design. Okay, then we have what? Space. Space creates what? Distance. or the area around within the work of art. For instance, if it's a beach scene and you have trees, you have the sea, you have the beach, the sand, you have the sky, there is that distance or that is created in the work of art that you, the viewer, feels as if you can enter into that particular artwork and touch the sky or even the sea. So space helps to create what? Distance within the work of art. Then we come to the last element, which is what? Value. So value simply refers to the visible lightness or darkness of color in a work of art. So value deals with what? Tones. And we know tones come with what? Color. So how light or how dark the color is gives us value, which is also an element of design. Now let's look at this very important thing. These elements relate to each other in the work of art. It means a combination of elements makes the artwork complete. For instance, daddy, mommy, your brother, your sisters, or your aunties and uncles, they all come together, especially daddy. Daddy goes out to make sure that he works, get money to come and provide everything that the family needs, okay, so that you will be able to go to school and become a great person someday. How daddy is able to relate well with you, your mom is able to relate well with you, your family members, makes you who you are and makes you come out as a good person, okay. So that's how the elements of design also is. They relate well with each other to come out with what? A very perfect and a beautiful designs. Okay. Okay. So for these elements of design to relate well with each other, they need to follow certain rules and guidelines. And these rules and guidelines are known as what? The principles of what? Design. So let's quickly move to the next slide and look at the principles that we have in design as well. Great class. So now let's look at the principles of design that will guide us to be able to use the elements to create a very beautiful artwork. Okay, so examples of such principles are unity. It gives the artwork a sense of cohesion, bring together. So unity simply means what? Bringing together. So let's say you bring together some squares, some lines, and some dots to make an artwork beautiful, but you don't scatter them, but you make sure what? Unite them to make the artwork pleasing to the viewer. Okay, so that's one principle of design. Then we go to what? Balance. Balance is what? Balance gives visual stability. When you look at the artwork, you don't look at it, the artwork as if you are going to fall down or the artwork is going to fall down, but you see stability in the artwork. You look at it and you are stable and you are able to find out the real details of the artwork. Okay, so that's the balance of the artwork, which is a principle of design. Then we come to variety. Variety adds interest to the artwork, like you're combining circles, you're combining dots, squares, triangles, pentagon shapes and stuff. When you put all these things together, it creates some interest in the artwork, okay, which means variety. Okay, then we have emphasis. It aims to draw the viewer's attention to a specific design or element. For instance, let's say you have a element of squares which you've colored all maybe green, and there's one particular one that you have colored red. That red color or that red square gives us emphasis, makes us, draws our attention to that particular color. Okay, so that's emphasis. If you want to create emphasis in a design, you can use color, you can use shape. Okay, so these are all what? Principles of design that will help you to use what? The elements. Okay, then we go to what? Contrast. Contrast is the arrangement of opposite elements and effects. Example is light and dark colors. Okay, so you put opposite elements together. An example is what? Bringing light color of what? Red, and a deeper color of red, putting them together to create some kind of what? Tone and contrast within a work of art. Okay, then we, our next principle is what? Proportion. Proportion deals with what? Size. So with the size, color, quality of two or more elements that are put together in a work of art. So it's the sizes in the sizes of the elements that you've used within the work of art, like big and small squares, lines, long lines, short lines. Okay, those kind of elements that you put together, and the color quality quantity as well. Maybe you use more of red, less of yellow, more of black, less of green. Okay, those are all what? Proportions, which is also what? Principle of design. Then our last but one is what? Harmony. Harmony is what? Creating a sense of togetherness in the elements of design. Like I said earlier, for the elements to come together to make a very nice, beautiful thing, artwork, you need what? The principles of design. And harmony is part of the principles of design, which brings the elements together to make the design appealing and very nice to the viewer. Then our last one is what? Movement, the path the viewer's eyes take through the work of art. When you are looking at the work of art, where your eyes start from to where it ends, okay, your eye doesn't just move all about the design, but it moves from a particular point based on the arrangement of the elements of design. Okay, that makes you see a sense of what? Movement in the artwork. Okay, so these are some of the principles of design that guides us to use the elements of design to form a very what? Beautiful artwork. Now we are going to look at the artwork that we did earlier within the week, within I think 2 weeks ago. Okay, we are going to look at the book cover that we did. We are going to look at the elements and the principles of design that were used in that particular artwork. Okay, okay, so let's move to the next slide. Great, class. So let's talk about the elements and principles of design in this particular artwork. Do you remember this artwork? This is the book cover that we did about 3 weeks ago. Okay, so we are going to identify the elements and principles of design that are used in this particular artwork as we view it. Okay, so now let's identify them. Now the elements are used in this work of art are colors. Okay, you can see that I used 4 colors: yellow, red, ash, and then what? Green. Okay, so I used 4 colors for this particular artwork. Then I used the shape. I used a particular rectangle shape. Okay, you can see rectangular shape all over my design. Okay, so that was the shape I used. Then I used dots for my border design. Okay, I used big dots for my border design. Okay, so I used colors, I used shape, I used dots, and I used what? Lines. Okay, you can see within the rectangle I divided them with lines. Okay, to get the different colors that I wanted to add to make the design more attractive. Okay, so these are the elements of design that I used in this particular artwork. Now let's identify the principles that I used. I used balance. Okay, when you look at the front cover, the red and ash rectangles are 5 in number. Let's count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I used 5 rectangles for the front cover, and the back cover I used what? 4 rectangles of the red and ash color. Okay, so we count them as well: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that created some kind of what? Balance here and there. And when you look at the yellow and green rectangles, I used at the front cover, I used 4 of those rectangles, and at the back cover I used 5, giving a very nice balance to the work of art. Okay, making the work of art look well balanced. Okay, and you can see some movement as the design moves from the top to the bottom. That's the rectangles. You can see that at the bottom part it continues. Okay, if there were to be an extra sheet there, the lines there will continue, or the rectangles will be in full. So there is a sense of movement of the rectangles moving downwards. Okay, and I also use what? Unity. Okay, so you can see that the rectangles have been put together with the color, and they are all giving some sense of unity in the artwork. There is balance, there is movement, and there is what? Unity in this particular artwork. So when you look at it, these are the principles and the elements of design that I used to achieve this beautiful design. Okay, all right, let's quickly move to the next slide. Okay, class, so finally we have come to the end of our lesson today. Okay, so what we are going to do next week is what I've displayed here. We're going to do a practical work next week. We're going to design a fabric using the elements and principles of design. So we use only 3 colors, you use only 3 shapes, and the tools and materials that you need are white cardboard, poster colors, paint brushes, pencil, ruler, and a compass. Make sure you gather all these tools and materials so that next week you'll be able to design a very nice fabric. Enjoy your day and stay blessed. Bye bye.